Hi guys, we're here tonight with a very special guest, being Nova Peris, in No Deck Week as well. So it's and we're thrilled. I have been following Nova's sporting journey since the first Olympic Games. And for those of you who don't know, Nova is not just a dual Olympian, but a dual Olympian in two completely different sports, in both '96, where you're also the first Aboriginal to win a gold medal in the famous HockeyRoos win in the '96 Atlanta Olympics. And then in 2000, to quote a stat from Bruce McAvaney, you are the only person in the world to have made the finals in the Olympics in two different Olympics in two completely different sports. So what amazing achievement in your whole life. But Nova, you're actually here, you're speaking to some friends of ours tonight, but you're also here in Melbourne, braving our cold weather, for the wonderful statue unveiling of you tomorrow. So congratulations on that in Federation Square.
Thank
you want
you.
to talk about that?
Yeah, I guess about 18 months ago I was approached by Gilly and Mark, who were statue sculptors, and they actually had a, they call it Statue for Equality, which is about getting more female statues in the world, and they had a very successful campaign in New York where they did 10 prominent American women, and they had millions and millions of people that went past the statues and admired it. And so that success, they came back here and said, why not do it in Australia? And so some 18 months ago, they did a polling to the Australian public and said, which 10 women do you think should be immortalised? And I was one of them. And so part of it was these statues are worth, $150,000 to $200,000 each, and you had to fundraise a proportion of it yourself. So I had to fundraise $60,000, and then we're out amongst, trying to get the sponsorship for that, and then COVID hit, and then with all the, I guess, Black Lives Matter campaign, and then you had a lot of people in Australia were tearing down the Cook statues and the colonisers statues, and says, why can't we have more of, prominent Australians? And then they came back to me and said, we're scrapping the 10 statues, we just want one statue, and that was myself. And so I can hand on my heart say that my statue was a people's statue. It was fundraised by the Australian people, and not 1 cent of government money, which is fantastic. So I know this is, it wasn't me saying, hey guys, immortalise me. It was from the Australian people. So I'm humbled and privileged to be honoured in such a way.
And what I do understand from people who know you, you actually are a very humble person. So unbelievable, congratulations for that. We are going to do a longer podcast for all of our clients and listeners. So it'll be going out, we'll probably do that in the next couple of weeks when you can talk to us in the sunshine back home in Northern Territory. But I would like to just touch on, just as we finish today, the Nova Peris Foundation, which you are launching, which I think is a sensational initiative on your behalf, to be able to use all the success that's come from your amazing hard work to actually be able to help other Aboriginal children as well. So would you like to touch on that?
Yeah, so I guess when we were living here in Melbourne last year, we went back to Darwin, and it was during that time I saw a lot of Aboriginal people in remote communities using social media to vent their frustrations about, we're all in the same position, I suppose, being locked down, but remote Aboriginal communities, not being able to leave, not being able to go and hunt for food, and food being able to come in. So food security and food prices was a massive problem, so much so that the federal government initiated a federal inquiry into food security. That food report was tabled in federal parliament in December of last year, and out of the 129 submissions, myself in partnership with Food Ladder came up with a solution. It's like, hey guys, let's use agriculture technology to empower Aboriginal people to create jobs. And you can't eat well and be healthy if you don't have access to good food produce. And so that's the basis of my foundation. Rather than reinventing the wheel, Food Ladder is an international company. Their problem was you've got a non-Indigenous organisation trying to relate to Aboriginal communities and then communities saying, we want this. So I'm sort of the conduit, and that's the basis of my foundation, that I work with Aboriginal communities to look at their needs, partner with Food Ladder, they bring the infrastructure in, and then I work with communities for 3 to 4 years to empower them, and we put smaller systems of food security in the schools so kids can learn about agriculture technology, horticulture, and there's a saying, you can't be what you can't see, and so if young kids can learn about this and see the adults working in these big superfood greenhouses, which is all temperature controlled, cyclone coated, and can feed up to 300 people per week. So it's a fantastic initiative, and there's a saying that I always believe is as much is given, much is expected, and so I sort of feel that nothing gives me greater pleasure than being able to give back to those who are in need of it.
Nova, you are a sensational role model for all of Australia, and the people certainly chose right in having the one statue being of you. So congratulations on that. We're looking forward to working with you for the many, many decades to come, you and your family. And we're also looking forward to going up to the Northern Territory rather than a quick fly in, fly out as well, to actually really experience the land as well. So thank you. We really appreciate it from all of our team, and looking forward to doing the podcast and your talk tonight.
Thank you, and thank you for all your support and being a event and statue sponsor.
No,
so thank you.
Our pleasure.